All right, folks, good afternoon. Welcome on back here this Tuesday afternoon post-Traders Talk edition here of our afternoon meeting. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. As always, make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. Great to see all of us here live inside the trading room. Chuck, Michael, Lori, great to see you all loud and clear. And all of us joining on social media, as always, welcome on back. For those of us joining on Facebook Live and YouTube, that is. Great to see David, Ron, Jonathan. Ron, I want to congratulate. Ron ended up just killing it on this PLTR trade actually heading into this afternoon meeting. So, really quickly, let's recap this stock, guys. I mean, if you've been in tune with this afternoon meeting, you've been hearing me discuss this PLTR new IPO from last week. This has had the most amount of shares offered off its IPO that I've seen in the last year and a half, 2 years even. More than Uber, more than Rocket, RKT that we're pretty familiar with. So this one really caught me off guard. I didn't know that really until day 2. We ended up seeing it make a pop and drop. But based on that, I figured this would be like a stock to trade pretty much every day going forward. There will be days where it's slower, days where it's not as worthwhile, and then days like today where we ended up seeing it make a huge breakout shortly after the open. Let me zoom out here on my charts for all of us. So after the market opened up, I had this on my side list. It wasn't one of my main 2 or 3 that I personally was watching going into the open. We hit it really nicely today, guys, in pre-market with our list. So I'll really jump to that in a moment. But with PLTR, man, we ended up seeing this make a huge pop off of 9, beautiful trend up towards 940-ish or 930-ish. From there, broke higher heading into the afternoon. But, whereas I thought this would pull back heading into this 2:30 afternoon meeting, and when I say pull back, I really meant like back down to 945, 950-ish. It just kept going. It bounced ultimately from this point here, but pushed right through 970 up to 10. 10 was actually the opening bell print off its first day of trading. Whatever they list the actual, price at, that's not exactly the same compared to what we see as the market on open print. The market on open print here for this day, September 30th, it was like a 53 million share print filled at 10. So, not only is 10 a decade level where we would see a big iceberg order on the bid or the ask, we ended up seeing a major transaction on time and sales. So based on that, that's a key level to watch heading into this afternoon. It's very strong heading into this afternoon still. Just broke below 10. I would imagine this move up to 10 here if it ends up popping through it here. Perhaps a pop and drop, but we'll see later on if it ends up making the real push that we're hoping for. Ron here in the chat board who picked up $1 on the trade. I think more than that. He was in from 9, got out at 9, or got out at 10:10. I want to give him a huge round of applause. But yeah, Ron said here, PLTR, one of my new daily traders. And look at the liquidity. Look at the level 3. I mean, huge orders at every price level. The more and more it moves up, it's going to thin out perhaps, but definitely a great stock to keep in mind on a day-to-day basis, like Ron pointed out. So yeah, heading into the afternoon, definitely going to put this on our main watch list, PLTR. All right, but like I said, we did really nicely, guys. Earlier today, we covered, most of that in the Traders Talk workshop. For anybody tuning in on social media, you heard me reference that yesterday. We do that every Tuesday live inside our room. Hey, this PPSI, I'm not going to do the whole, full analysis on this, but look what happens. Right, for all of us that were in Traders Talk, you guys know what I was looking for here once we were finishing up. So, right now, this seems to still be, pulling back a little bit. Not every trade's WWR where it ends up making that rare second huge continued move up into the afternoon. So, with as much volume as this stock traded heading into the open today, it's almost at 300 million shares right now, folks. Let me actually just check the float just for fun here. I forgot what the float was here, the actual number for PPSI. 3.2 million share float. We're talking like 100 times around its float as far as the total volume traded. So yeah, got to be careful on this trade, guys. I mean, it has a tight spread. The liquidity does check out, but nonetheless, I would expect the stock to keep pulling back at some point. And if it's not right away today, then it's going to be by like pre-market tomorrow morning off a huge gap down. All right, but yeah, I mean, hey, PPSI, as much as I was kind of crapping on it here, we ended up doing really well on it earlier this morning, going into the market open, broke over its opening bell print from there. The rest is history. OPTT, I mean, I'll really just go from top to bottom. Like I had said, we hit it nicely from our pre-market watch list leading into the market open, and OPTT was right there too. OPTT definitely has more liquidity on the book and similar, but more or larger orders at each price level on the matrix there. for each ticket trades up and down, there's a lot of volume that it has to cut through. So, nonetheless, OPTT took a while to get the gears going, but it made the breakout over major resistance off 150, and very similar to PPSI, steady trend up early in the morning. I mean, this was really nice. Up towards eventual resistance 225. I was calling that out heading into the early afternoon. Like I'd said before, folks, I normally wouldn't expect a stock to make a second big move up, much like we had from the market open, unless if it's near the highs. Unless if it is near the highs. I mean, the high of the day today is 262, so still has a little bit of ways to go. It's making a nice bounce, a nice second bounce perhaps from that 225 level. 220, 225, kind of combined range of support. So, that could have been a nice play if anybody's in that there. But yeah, for right now, maybe I'll just kind of come back to this at the very end. OPTT. We've seen the stock run in the past, so it's not as if it can't do it. I mean, you go back on the daily chart here really fast. We talked about this also in Traders Talk. I mean, the stock's been a pump and dump in the past. You could see a big move up in pre-market here back on April 3rd, ended up dumping off as soon as the market opened up, or actually rather popped, then it fell apart. But nonetheless, this stock we've seen make some huge moves over the last year, the last couple of years. So, if it doesn't run today, definitely good to keep in mind. All right, give me a sec. My charts for clumped here. There we go. All right, so we'll come back to this at least by the end. I'd rather go through everything else first. One stock, though, I mean, we knew this would come, the WWR, right? So we were saying not every stock is WWR where it ends up running day over day over, I mean, hey, in pre-market this morning, and this will go over for all of us, tuning in for free on social media. Listen, we talked about this earlier in Traders Talk where it ended up making this huge rally early in the pre-market. I mean, early. We're talking 5:30 in the morning early. So where most of us can't really look to, even trade that yet, to see it make that type of exponential run up, then dump right back down. Again, you don't expect it to make like a crazy second big move up to break new highs. So, I joked around earlier in Traders Talk. I was saying, I was staying away from this. I had a 200-mile restraining order on the stock going into the market open at least. Perhaps it could make a nice bounce. Well, it ended up making a pop at first, then it got crushed. So, the bounce I think came from 10, if I'm not mistaken. Roughly around that 10 level. Right here is the first real bounce. That could have been pretty interesting. And then from there, it re-broke over 10 and ended up making, a nice little run. But again, same thing here. At some point, this stock's got to die off. And, it started to earlier today, but for as much as it ran up the last week, it has a lot more to go. So, for right now, the WWR trade definitely going to scratch off our list here. All right, SOL. This thing's been pushing up pretty nicely today. I know I kind of skipped over one or two there on the gainers list, but, Fausto called this out earlier in the morning, around 10:15, 10:30. I mean, nice catch. Broke out from resistance off of like 240-ish, perhaps, 238. You can see on the chart. From there, moved up steadily. I mean, today we've had a few stocks trending up very nicely, made it easy for us to follow along. A lot of volume just came in here, though, right? Huge volume spike going into 230. Do a little classic tape reading here. All right, 282, 282, 282. I think that makes it pretty simple. All right, 282 to 285, I'd imagine. But nonetheless, I mean, a lot of volume came in, popped up, dumped back down. And generally, look what's holding as resistance here 5 or 10 minutes after the volume came in, right? That was a quick little scan I just did, but 285, 282, that's holding as resistance, dumping back down here. So, it's still pretty active, but I'm not as interested. Again, I mean, I'd rather look at OPTT. Maybe come back to this. All right, let's go back to those that I'd skipped over. This ELS trade or ELSE trade, tongue twister stock, ELSE. Nice pop. So I don't know what the float is on this. Actually, I will find out. Actually, that's pretty lazy for me to say. 2.23 million share float. Pretty low. Stock likely is going to be a pump and dump. So here's the pump. And it already pulled back a little bit, but hopefully this can make a new run heading into the afternoon. So don't mind putting this on the main list right now, given the afternoon run. Low volume, this one. All right. Let's just kind of skim through what else we have here. PLL, familiar name from the last week. Lithium company partnered up with Tesla. popped up here. I mean, again, pump and dump pretty much, pushed back up the last few days. If this stock was shortable, I'd say this would be the better play. If anything, though, the spread's huge. The liquidity is pretty light on the book. CHNR, not really too interested. AQMS, I've seen the stock in the past. Looks like the stock got halted. No, it wasn't halted. You can see based on the gap here, it would appear as if it was, but that's just based on lack of activity. It made a volume spike, and then it just totally died off, and then the next print was probably a couple pennies higher. But yeah, I mean, little pop and drop there too. I'm not really that interested. It's funny, I told you guys yesterday too, there's like nothing on my earnings calendar. Naturally, just out of habit, I just looked up at my earnings calendar. I'm like, oh, what do we have for the afternoon today? Just nothing. Absolutely nothing. There's no earnings that are good for this week. Just do that out of habit at times. Sun W, nice pop earlier going into the early afternoon here. So broke out above resistance, essentially over the pre-market high of the day off 275, ran nicely. So that was a good call out. I think that was from Jerry at the time inside our trading room. Liquidity checks out, but volume died off as far as like what's being traded. The Dow is rocking right now. The Dow is pushing up really nicely from 2 o'clock, 2:15. I mean, essentially from before we had started the meeting. So I really want to take a look at some of the side list stocks. The airlines, cruise lines were moving up pretty nicely. I don't know if they'll be on the percent gainers list here exactly, but skim through, see if there's anything else looking good. QD, familiar name, stock was breaking all-time lows probably up until, well, this past week. Yeah. So this stock has a ways to go back up. I like where it is right now in relation to the chart. Just almost like too much volume for this to cut through. You know what I mean? So, good stock to keep on your side list, maybe with a more active pre-market tomorrow, or maybe if you're even considering swing trading it, just given how much room this stock has to run back up, it could be worth the opportunity. Me personally, I have no interest in this as a swing trade. I'm not in it as a swing trade just yet, but maybe we'll see what happens. I'll talk to you guys about a trade I'm currently in, though. I am in one trade, and it's one of the stocks I was in from yesterday during this meeting. So I want to get to that too. All right, what else do we have here, folks? XSPA, familiar name, pumped up earlier. Nice run, but dumped back down. So same thing. USEG, another pump and dump, super low float. We found out in a Traders Talk today. Got 600,000 share float altogether. All right, got nothing else on the gainers list, guys. If there's going to be anything else, actually, I'm just going to cut myself off really quick. Got one more. Knew it. I saw it from the corner of my eye. I was like, okay, I got to take a look at BE here, Bloom Energy. I called it out earlier. It was pushing up to 2050, but it's not really doing a whole lot. I mean, it's kind of near the highs, which I'd like to see. It is shortable, so if it ends up, dropping off, if we see people taking profits, perhaps this will, drop. But markets are moving up nicely. I wouldn't see any reason otherwise for that to drop. But yeah, BE, I don't mind putting on our list here. Right, the N right there. But yeah, guys, if there's anything else, just let me know in the chat board. We'll just hop over to the losers list now at this point. Wow, a bunch of crap. I'm just like looking through this losers list right now, but like ticker by ticker, and just there's nothing. I mean, like 5 of these are just IPOC stocks, like WU. I got the warrants at least there. There's like, oh, what's interesting? There's IPOC and there's IPOB. That's throwing me off also. That would be Fausto's worst nightmare, I think. IPOC, I think, from earlier today. That's the one that dropped off this morning. We had this on our list at least. After the market opened up, nice squeeze up for what it was worth. The volume died off, though, after it came back down. I don't think that we could short this. LAC, we were kind of calling out as a short. If you were able to get the shares earlier, dived off pretty nicely. Just this is a really volatile stock, very actively moving stock. So good to keep on your side list, perhaps. The LAC trade here. Man, not a whole lot else, guys. I mean, I know whenever I say that, there's usually 1 or 2 more that I somehow find, right? We just saw that with BE, but Wayne saying OPTT at 50-cent triple top. Let's take a quick look back. Like we said, no problem jumping back to Ocean Power. Yeah, I mean, look at this from the bounce from 225, Wayne, or 220. Man, really nice push up at this point. Did it already break over 250? It did. It already broke over 250. So there's your pop and drop. There's your false breakout. Perhaps the next attempt, right? I mean, major resistance we actually called out inside the trading room just earlier. Not even at 250. I was calling out 260, guys. If you recall, I'm going to copy and paste that there in the chat board. I wrote that at 1:53 Eastern time, but 260 big resistance now in the ask. So, no surprise we have a pop and drop at first. Perhaps, if this holds under 250 for the next 5 or 10 minutes, 15 minutes maybe, next move up over the level, perhaps we'll make it run higher. But yeah, at this point, OPTT definitely will put on our list here. We don't really have like a 12, 13, 15 stock watch list at this point, right? So, yeah, especially with this bounce back up. All right, cool. So, what else we got, guys? From Bill, we got plug. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to not put this on our list, right? Right at the highs. We were calling this out, of course, earlier today, too, moving up or holding strong, at least as the Dow is rocketing up right now. All right. You know what? How about this, Bill? Great call. I want to see if there's anything else even moving, sharper, just as good. I'm going to do kind of like a best of here. Like even Michael here saying in the chat board, Micron MU just popped up. Hey, that looks pretty good too. I mean, a little pricier, but it's definitely a great tradable stock. So really anything that can move up with the market, we would say, right? Like Fausto did the morning meeting a few days back, and the markets were down. He said, hey, there was this one stock XTNT, and then just short the market. That was pretty much what he said. So with the way the markets are moving up, it might just be the same case, just vice versa. At this point, why not just check out the cruise lines, the airlines, the et ceteras, RCL, my NCLH. These all popped earlier. These all made some nice moves earlier today. They caught me off guard. What I wanted out of CCL, if anything, this was the one I was watching mostly. This is the one I might be more keen to put on the list out of all of them. It's up 6+%, moving up steady with everything else. But after the market opened today, I really wanted to pull back down towards the major support off 1510 also. Just right out of the gate, shot out like a cannon. So I mean, hey, I was focused on the PPSI stock, but ended up making a nice push. Man, there's so much out there that we could just put on here at the end, right? What else? Do we have anything from the chat board on YouTube? YouTube, Facebook Live, perhaps? I don't see anything. Check out Benzinga Pro, my trusty Benzinga Pro signals page here. See if there's anything looking just as good. Got a chat here from Scott in our chat board. SPI is moving up. Let's take a look at that. And not as keen to put it on the list. I mean, again, it's the type of stock to pump and dump, so got to watch it with caution. Ooh, the Dow just dived off. You see that on my chart? In the last minute. Wow, what the heck happened? I'm going to check Benzinga Pro right now, at least the news feed, see if there's anything new that just came out. That was a pretty sharp drop. You guys see that? OPTT ended up dropping off from that 250. So, no surprise there at least. Let's see. All right, here's the latest chat I got from Benzinga Pro in relation to like the markets altogether. I just type in SPY. It says Operation Warp Speed Chief says within the next month or two, we feel comfortable that we will have 1 or 2 efficient vaccines to deliver 2 doses of vaccine, blah, 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 30 million people first in November to December. All right, so that's the reason why the markets are moving up. But that was just posted at 2:33 Eastern time, not necessarily right now. We're seeing a major drop right now. Holy smokes. There's got to be something else aside from that, right? I mean, I see this kind of just make such a big drop. I don't have my TV near me here. I want to check out Fox Business or CNBC News, whatever it may be, as soon as I'm done here. Normally, I would see, maybe no deal. I think that might be it, just from the Senate. That's kind of what I'm seeing on the chat boards right now from Benzinga Pro. Nothing official just yet. Wow. You never know what you're going to catch here live, guys. I'll tell you that much. Holy smokes. For as good of an afternoon as we had, I think I just jinxed us. Sorry about that. Whoa. Big drop on NCLH right now. All right, so those plans about going along with the market, I don't think that's going to be the case. Wow, a major drop off here. Stay with me here, folks. We're going to figure this out. Trump tweets Nancy Pelosi is asking for $2 trillion. We're not talking politics right now, guys, but obviously the headline here. Trump tweets Nancy Pelosi is seeking for $2 trillion to bail out poorly run high crime, blah, 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 blah. You know, a whole tweet sent out from Trump. That's basically what's happening. That's the last that I got from Benzinga Pro. We're not going to talk about the the political chat here, right? But at least we know that politics drives the news, and that's the headline I'm going to copy and paste for all of us here. That's it. Oof, wow. Okay. Well, this isn't affecting the one trade I'm in. I was going to talk to you guys about the trade I'm in right now, and that's JE. To close it out, I don't honestly mind putting this just on the back end of our list here. Just Energy, if you've been following this meeting for the last, I don't know, the last week, you've been hearing me talk about this stock. Yeah, I mean, it's holding up. Small cap stock ended up dropping off like 99%, 94% or something like that the last week and a half, reverse split afterwards. And, you know, I've been waiting for this squeeze up. I even swing traded this from yesterday on a small position size. Right now, I'm just about break even. I added more shares myself, but to see this hold a higher low, push back up into the final 30 minutes, final 15 minutes of the day, that could be interesting. Holy crap, guys. What is happening right now? A major drop off, right, David? David A in our chat board saying AMD, Uber, all dropping off. I mean, at this point, right? We're going to see everything drop off. NCLH, all the airlines, everything that's moving with the market at this point, guys. Whenever we see this sharp of a drop off, then you got to see most stocks, most mid to large cap stocks will move with it. You know what else would be moving though, and not necessarily on the way down? Actually, quite inverse. SQQQ, VIX, UVXY, all of these inverse symbols. All right, so whenever I like type VIX symbols on the list, I'm including like the QQQ inverse symbols also, SQQQ. I think there's one SPXS, if I'm not mistaken. There's a couple, just, the inverse symbols that tend to move against the market. All right, guys, pick not pick your poison, pick your pleasure at this point. So long as you know how to follow these stocks that move with the market, we'll be able to find the best bounce, the best opportunity to work off of, at least heading into this afternoon, right? So there we go. Focus on your NCLHs out there. Focus on your AALs out there. Focus on your side list stocks, perhaps. We'll take a good hard look at NEO also, if my platform doesn't freeze up here, but we'll see. NEO's dropping off with the market. Why not focus on NEO if this is a stock that you do pretty well on? All right. So I'll keep it at that, just at this point, with this ginormous drop off. I was going to say before this, to focus on maybe like a NCLH or something like that here, but damn. All right. Well, enough of me talking here, guys. I got to get ready for the final hour at this point. I want to make sure I can catch some of these trades heading into the afternoon. For all of us tuning in on social media at this point, guys, make sure that you guys like, subscribe, notify right on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/cybertradingu. But hey, if you're watching right now, how could you not join us right here in the trading room for the final hour of the day, guys? Feel more than free to join us right here in the Cyber Group trading room. All right, guys, I'm going to post and tweet the list for all of us inside the trading room. I'm going to take a 5-minute break. I'll hop right back on, though. Take care.